Hey y'all, so this is the video following the grief relief flower essence, and I'm gonna follow up with the Compassionate Caregiver flower essence. It's also from Flower Essence Services out of California. As I said in the last video, these essences are just made with a lot of like integrity and intention and love and care, and they have a really high vibrational quality to them that not all flower essences carry, because not all flower essences are created equally with as much care and attention as these ones are, from what I have noticed with the essences that I have worked with over the years. This essence you can get on the website for Flower Essence Services or iherb, as in boy.com. And this essence was super useful for us when we had our pets going through their dying process. We had two cats that died within 5 weeks of each other. And this essence was such a lifesaver in so many ways. No pun intended, dark irony, because the cats did cross over, but our lives were saved. Um, but it says healing through the heart's chalice, compassionate caregiver. And this one, I really feel we use this one a lot more on ourselves than we did on the pets. I would spray in their like bedding area so they would know I was trying to like care for them. But more so I would use it. Sorry, I just ate toast and I feel it in my tooth. More so I would just use it on the front of my heart, the back of my heart, the side of my heart, and two sprays in my mouth. And I would do this in the morning and evenings. I think in the evenings I actually did like four sprays in my mouth. Because my husband and I took turns with help out with the cats because their needs changed during those final weeks with us, and it definitely made us have to adjust like our sleep schedules and sleep cycles, excuse me, quite a bit during that time. And that is part of why this was like so helpful was like we were going to bed at weird hours. We were waking up not having slept good. We were super worried, hovering over them, like trying to make them as comfortable as possible. And then we also had to go to work. And so it's really easy when you're running on fumes to be cranky and to be cranky toward the very little being that needs that care. And not like lashing out cranky, but like it's like to me, like we love our little fur babies so much. We want to tend to them with absolute care and compassion. And give them as gentle of a send off as possible, as loving a send off as possible. So you don't really want to be cranky for that. Um, when I was in my field and in my moods, I would always take myself to another room away from the cats, or if I was in the room with them, I would cry and tell them that it was okay. It was just mommy having to process her feelings and adjust to them leaving. And they didn't do anything wrong. They were tears of love. And I was sorry if I was causing them stress because I didn't want to stress them. But I also needed to let my feelings out, which I feel like they understood that. And it was helpful for me to say that out loud to them. And that habit actually developed when I was taking the compassionate caregiver, and it was nice because like I would come home from work and take the compassionate caregiver while my husband was at work because he worked evenings. And then I would tend to whichever cat I was tending to, making sure like their bedding, their litter box, and all that stuff was done. There was a lot of litter box modifications for Billie G because she had a leg that was kind of bad too. Um, Whereas with Tumbles, it was more so like eating modifications. And this just made it easier for me to be in that space to really caregive. After being at work all day, I work in mental health and I deal with a lot of people on the phone that are sometimes very demanding, and all of their emergencies are the most emergency of them all sometimes. And so going from that to like trying to come home and shift modes and mindsets to being there for my little pet, which was my emergency in my life at that time, um, was a bit trying at times. And so this is really helpful because then I would be able to just have my heart held And it felt like the day would just fall off of me, or like I would unzip from the work reality and come into my home reality. And then I would be able to tend to the pets with all these extra things they had going on, different medications that they were taking, along with I was doing energy hospice care for them. And my husband was doing shifts with me. So, like, I would do the energy work in the morning and after work, and then he would do another round of energy work after he got off work and in his morning. And, or if I missed like a energy shift, then he would pick up where I missed. And then on the weekends, we were spending a lot of time creating containers of energy to really just hold and help the kitties be in as minimal pain as possible. And this really helped me pull out of like the headspace, out of the feelings. It was like, I feel like my higher self or my soul just like booped me over and then they took over and guided me. And I feel like my guides, um, especially the dragons, I feel like the dragons were around a lot for Billy G and Tumbles. The dragons would take over as well, and they would really just like help me do what needed to be done according to like my belief systems to really provide the utmost quality care for my little fur babies. And then after I would do the sessions, then it was like they would remove themselves, and then I would be back in my heart, in my body, and then I would go cry, or I'd go for a walk, or I'd go stretch, or I'd go journal, or whatever. And then this was really helpful in helping me be compassionate towards myself and caregive for myself and not shame myself or beat myself up for having meltdowns and crying after work, especially when the cats left. I was still using this after the cats crossed over. I was using this in combination with the grief relief essence, and it really helped me not guilt myself for falling behind on chores. It helped me not guilt myself for not keeping up with groceries. It helped me not guilt myself for like taking more baths than I usually take when we were already kind of tight on cash because the unexpected cost of pets dying, right? Um, and it really helped me be compassionate to Chris as well, instead of like having him be like the enemy or attacking him because he wasn't grieving the way I wanted him to grieve, or he wasn't taking care of himself the way I wanted him to take care of himself. I know that happens sometimes, like people get weird with grief and control and like cringy and twitchy and all kinds of things. I was reading stories about other people who had lost pets and how they said sometimes it's easier to lose a pet and not have a partner because having a partner makes it so much more difficult. And I honestly feel like that was not the case for us. Even though we were going through things, I feel like the cats really brought us together in love, where we were happy to have each other in partnership as we tended to their needs in the ways that we resonate with energy and flower essences and just quality time with them. And it helped Chris be really compassionate with um, both the kitties, but especially with Tumbles. He would do her the solid every night of holding her on his arm and his hand and just kind of taking her around the house like she was in a little helicopter. And she loved it. She loved looking up in the cabinets. She loved looking in the corners. She loved looking at the ceiling fans. And like that was like their little nighttime routine in her final days. And then I would take her out in her cat stroller, or we would take her out together. And it gave us the energy to do it and not to collapse and like fall like victim to the morning, right? And it made it possible for me to also give her a send off that really felt good to me and to her. And it really helped me receive this affirmation that I've been working with, which is I can have it all. And that affirmation was like, it came at that time. I was really wanting to be able to celebrate Tumbles' birthday. She also had her scheduled departure date. And then I really wanted to like have sisterhood and friendship and community in a way that felt good to me. And it's been really lonely in Florida, and making friends is different as an adult. And so thankfully, my coworkers that I call my Barbie squad came together and we did a kitty poetry celebration of life, which I'll go ahead and post a video with that just to give some animal lovers some ideas. And that was like me creating compassionate caregiving where like I had sisterhood holding me as we all sat in a circle writing poetry about tumbles. And then we read her our poems. And then like I just felt really lifted up. She felt really lifted up. I played the video for her again and she was so happy the next day. The video still makes me cry. Do you want to cry right now? But it was really, really special and beautiful. And it gave me that like compassion that I needed, that space holding that I needed because I'd been going through so much stuff in my life at that time. And I feel like I might not have had the idea to orchestrate that. I might not have worked with that affirmation had I not had the healing through the heart's chalice, the compassionate caregiver, holding space for me to give my self-care, the send-off that I needed as a fur mama and that Tumbles needed as a fur baby. And it was really beautiful because I did get to have it all. I was so worried. I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna like have her birthday and then die, or she's gonna have the celebration of life and it's gonna stress her out and she's gonna die, and then she's not gonna make it to her departure date, or oh my God, maybe I put the departure date too far out there and I effed up and I should have scheduled it before her birthday. Am I being selfish? Like all these things, like so many animal lovers go through all these big questions and decisions, right? Um, and so then I heard that affirmation of I can have it all. And I was like, I can have it all. And Tumbles has been such an OG little teacher. She's going to show me that I can have it all. And then I did get to have it all. I got to have the birthday with her. I got to have the poetry celebration with her. And I got to have the really sweet and special and unique to me send off with her. I'm looking at her canvas. I have it in my synergy room. And it was really special and healing for me to be able to have that. And then once she was gone, I would use this to go ahead and care for myself. I had to parent myself. I had to hold space for myself. My husband was grieving his grief. I was grieving my grief. We were also going through things. So this would really guide me into like, okay, now it's time to take a bath with flower essences. Now it's time to stretch and do some small intestine stretches because you made a lot of decisions during this process and your intestine needs some adjusting. Small intestine has to do with decision making and sorting things out in Chinese medicine and yin yoga. And so it would guide me to do that. Or, okay, you know what, you're still grieving the loss of your pets. Like, how about we go nourish ourselves and do the inner child pet loss meditation that we created and go ahead and receive some healing there? Or how about we go ahead and strip down and go lay outside with Mother Earth and just really let her support you and hold your heart with your heart pressed to the ground? And this guided me to all the things that I needed if I had a caregiver guiding me that I would have appreciated. And so it really, really helped me hold me. And then it really helped me not lose patience with either the cats or things that weren't really their fault. It was just me having a rough day at work or Chris having a rough day at work. And I feel like it really helped him not lose patience as well. I think it helped him be softer with himself and with me. And I feel like it also helped us like honor boundaries with each other in a way that we hadn't quite been able to do before. But because of the love that the cats activated in us and the love that we share for the cats and the love that we do share for each other, it made it really easy to honor boundaries and have that compassion. Like, okay, she's crying on the floor. Meanwhile, I really want to eat something nourishing because I have big emotions. And instead of making something unhealthy, I'm going to let her cry because I know she likes to have her space as she cries. And I'm going to go make a nourishing meal for myself or both of us. Um, is how we kind of were navigating it at moments. And that was perfect for us. It was really, really helpful. And then, yeah, spraying it in like the bedding or the places that they like to be, we would spray it there just so the essences would kind of like create a little energetic blanket to hold them, to let them know they were loved, they weren't a burden, um, they weren't in trouble. And then spraying it on us so that way we could really lean into that. And I read online that this can be really useful for parents as well. And so, yeah, that's really interesting to think about because I see parents all the time lose patience with their children, especially in the line of work that I do. And the line of work that I do prescribes a lot of medications, and I don't agree with that. And I think it would be really interesting to hear from some of you if you guys are parents to little humans and not little furries, if you were to try the compassionate caregiver essence, how that benefits your relationship with your child. And then also, if you have a partner that's going through things, this would be really useful for helping you have compassion for yourself as you caregive and for your partner. And it would be useful for the partner to go ahead and use this on themselves to have compassion and gratitude for you as the caregiver. And then I think it would really help create that space of honoring one another in the roles that you play. And then you could do your own processing about what's going on in this caregiving dynamic that you have to where resentment or burnout doesn't come into fruition as often as it does in the caregiving scenarios. And it's also really useful, I think, when you're using it with yourself in reparenting, it helps you caregive for that inner child. It helps you hear those needs that need meeting much more clearly. So yeah, that is what I have on the Compassionate Caregiver Healing Through the Heart's Chalice Flower Essence Spray. I still use this in self-care practices or moments where I'm processing grief, for example. If the grief is not overwhelming, I'll use Bleeding Heart Flower Essence all by itself instead of the grief relief spray. And then I'll do Bleeding Heart and then Compassionate Caregiver. And then I'll just give myself full permission to go into the feelings and then go on with my day, however that may look. And it really seems to tidy up and tighten the container to where the feelings don't have all this emotional bleed out going on. I also take yarrow flower essence, and flower essence is really great for staunching your energy body so your emotions don't bleed out, and also keeping other people's energy bodies and their energies from bleeding into you. So I work with them in a myriad of ways, but this one's really good for like space holding for yourself, space holding for little people, pets, people that we are caregiving for, people that might be in their dying processes. I imagine when our parents are in their dying processes, this one combined with the grief relief will be really, really helpful. And there was also another one, it was called Peaceful Passage. That one I used more on Tumbles than I did on Billie G. And I think combining that one more so on the pet, and then compassionate caregiver and grief relief more so on the human and maybe remaining pets, um, would be a really wise synergistic combination. And compassionate caregiver, I also did put that on Jazz's bed when she was first processing tumbles. And I think that helped her know that it was okay for her to be sad and that like mommy cared for her. And then the grief relief helped her move through stuff. So yeah, that's what I got on that one. And then I will go ahead and see you for the next one. And yeah, let me know your questions. Maybe you've had experience with these essences and want to share your stories and they can help people as well. You're welcome to do so in the comments.